UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has survived a confidence vote that could have seen him removed from power. Here's his reaction after the vote.
I can report as returning officer that 359 ballots were cast, no spoiled ballots, that the vote in favour of having confidence in Boris Johnson as leader was 211 votes, and the vote against was 148 votes. And therefore, I can announce that the Parliamentary Party does have confidence.
So, well, I think this is a very good result for politics and for the country. I do. Just in this sense, I think it's a convincing result, a decisive result, and what it means is that as a government we can move on and focus on the stuff that I think really matters to people.
Sorry, it's a decisive result. And let me. And your allies wanted her to go straight away. How is this different?
Look,
how can you possibly continue?
This is I've got a far bigger mandate from my own parliamentary colleagues, for instance, than I had in 2019. And I'm grateful to colleagues. I'm grateful for the support that they've given me. And of course, I understand that what we need to do now is come together as a government, as a party, and that is exactly what we can now do. And what this gives us is the opportunity to put behind us all the stuff that I know the media have quite properly wanted to focus on for a very long time, and to do our job, which is to focus on the stuff that I think the public actually want us to be talking about, which is what we are doing to help the people in this country and all the things we're doing to take this country forward. Okay. And so what this means tonight is that we can focus on exactly that.
Embattled British Prime Minister there, Boris Johnson. Well, Arise Chief Correspondent has been following the story all the way and joins us now live from Westminster. Good to see you, John. Well, when 40% of your own members of Parliament rebel against you, what does that mean? What does the vote result mean for Boris Johnson's future?
Actually, it's 47%. It's even worse than 40%. Well, look, if you're a Johnson supporter, then you say, well, look, he won this vote of confidence. He's got a year of grace now because there can't be another vote of confidence for another year. Let's get on with it. Boris Johnson saying tonight he's got things to do. Let's put it all behind us. But the problem is that the Labour opposition and other opposition parties, Liberal Democrats and social Scottish nationalists, will not let this go. And frankly, this is the worst result possible because this saga, which started a year ago but has its roots back in COVID in March 2020, is just going to go on and on and on and on until something happens. Either Johnson manages to brush it off and put it all behind him and comes up with some policies that the British people can start to appreciate, like tackling the economy, which is on the brink of recession, or he steps down. Now, when Maggie Thatcher was in a similar position some 30 odd years ago now, she actually won a vote of confidence by 5 actually, but she was persuaded to step down some days and some weeks later by the men she called the men in grey suits, cabinet ministers who came to see her and said, look, Maggie, I think the game is up, it's time to step down. So will that happen to Boris Johnson? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. The next critical point will be in 2 weeks' time when there are 2 local elections, one up in Wakefield in West Yorkshire and the other one down in Tiverton in Devon. Now, the Conservative Party are expected to lose to Labour in the Wakefield election and possibly lose Tiverton as well. So again, this is going to ramp up the pressure for Boris Johnson to call it a day, frankly. So in summary, it's a bad result all round. It's bad for Boris Johnson because he didn't get the support that he thought he might get. It's bad for the country because this is just going to go on and on and on for the foreseeable future.
Indeed, I mean, he lives to fight another day. Is Johnson the cat with the 9 lives, John Cookson? But Should he ultimately step down, who takes over? Who can take his place?
Cat with 9 lives. Well, I think he's probably had at least 8 of those already, and other people liken him to a slippery piglet. You know, a piglet you can't get hold of them, but a greased piglet, a slippery piglet, you can't get hold of that, and he scurries off out of the sty and away. Look, there are other people who would like to be Prime Minister, of course, but there's no one, frankly, of the political standing, at least until tonight, that Johnson had. Remember, he was a rock star Prime Minister when he came to power, with a thumping majority less than 3 years ago now, gave the Conservatives a 40-seat majority, an 80-seat majority, the biggest in 40 years. But there are other contenders. There's Hunt, the former Health Secretary. He's put his hat in the ring, more or less. Truss, the Foreign Secretary, models herself on Thatcher, but doesn't have much of a personality. There's Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, a billionaire Chancellor who was slightly wounded recently politically because his wife had, let's say, an exotic way of dealing with her accounts. And then there's Tom Tugendhat, who also is a fiercely ambitious Tory MP, 48 years old, a leader of the Foreign Affairs Committee, perhaps not well known to the main British public. But there are contenders. But tonight, Boris Johnson trying to see off all opposition to him outside the party and inside the party. Tomorrow's another day. We'll see how things look when the dust settles tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow indeed is another day. John Cookson, thank you very much. Of course, he has the economy to tackle there. Thank you.